Hello and welcome to the Service Ducks podcast. I am co-host James Downs.
And I'm Rush here, and we're here to chat about all things ServiceNow, everyday life as a ServiceNow consultant, new features, implementation successes, and perhaps more entertaining when it doesn't go quite so well.
Hello and welcome back to the Service Ducks. We are live. Please do not swear. Yes, so this is episode 16 now. And we'll be talking about a little bit more that we've been talking about recently, actually, around working from home. We know a lot of people do work from home. We talked about meetings recently. This one's all about how do you actually stay productive working from home? What are your strategies? Are you actually more productive working from home compared to being in the office? So we'll be talking through all those kind of things, the techniques and different things that we do from home. We'll be discussing what we do as obviously ServiceNow architects and developers, what we do working from home, and debating it, seeing what works, what doesn't work. But before we dig into that, let's first find out what Russ has been doing in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've got our 10 minutes standard obligatory waffle. So if you want to get to the topic, just skip ahead 10 minutes. What have I been doing? Yes, well, the one thing I was going to pick you up on, actually, you said please do not swear. We can do whatever we like, right?
Well, post pre-watershed or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't know,
well, when this gets thousands of views in the future, you don't want to get demonetized.
Well, right, let me tell you. So, and I write stuff down. See, I come prepared.
Ooh.
So, there has been, it's all kind of a plan that we talk about different topics that are kind of planned. One of the recent things I've been interested in, if you listen to last week's episode, is around 80% of us work from home now. And what does that mean? And the whole informal chat stuff, right? So it's like a lot of us spend time, because we're working from home, we spend time in formal meetings, structured meetings where there's some kind of set forth, I can't think of a better phrase, set forth outcome to those meetings, right? And then it comes into the question around, well, what happens to those informal chats? I mean, you and I do this, right? So this is an informal chat. I hope it comes across, but this is an informal chat. It's just a structured informal chat. It's a bit weird. Anyway, so waffle. Coming off the back of that, I went into the office last week. So I, like most people, 80% of those people work from home. I went into the office. I kind of went in because I hadn't seen a few work colleagues for a few months. And I thought, I'm going to go for a couple of drinks afterwards, do a bit of socialising. But do you know what? I think there's only about 4 of us in, right? But we managed to have, myself and another architect had a conversation for 20 minutes. And it was have you got 5 minutes conversation, which usually turned into 20.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Oh, excuse me. And we had one of those conversations where we managed to answer a question he was debating and one that I was debating within 20 minutes. And it was, if you're interested, it was about @repo. It was about, now we're supposed to be using, we've done another podcast on this, and now we're supposed to be using @repo as opposed to update sets. How do you deliver 2 work streams, so your BAU and your enterprise project work stream, or velocity project work stream, at the same time without taking someone else's config? How does that work in the real world? So 20 minutes, we managed to bash that out and disprove some stuff. And then I had a number of conversations just outside, perhaps having a beer while having lunch. They're informal, just general chats that for me were so productive. They were so productive. And it was just, I don't know, it's just good fun. So I've been doing that. That was in London. Of course, I got my scooter. In fact, I will. I don't know if you can see this, right? Oh, actually, Scootergate. So I do this and I send it to the kids. Here you go. Hang on. You can see me. I don't know whether you can see this, right? Let's see if this works.
Go on.
You see me?
There he is. Yeah. Nice.
I do that and I send it to the kids because I am a big child and my kids think it's funny. But that was the day that my children's scooters got stolen from school. Mate, there's been those are the first 2 that went. After that, there's been about another 4 that have gone. There's another. So my plan is I said I'm tempted to go and buy a second-hand scooter, right, for like £5, £10, and
Put like a
sit,
GPS tracker on
yeah, and
it.
watch it. Anyway, so yes, I got my scooter in London. We had a couple of beers. This was interesting actually. So the office that I work in downstairs, they've got a kind of swanky bar, and it is quite swanky, right? It's nice. It's got brick walls and wooden floors and everything.
Mm.
Right, quite new age, I would say. I feel quite old when I'm in there. Let's be honest. But it took, and it's kind of a funky bar, and it took from the moment I said, "Can I have 4 pints, please?" to them actually being delivered. Bear in mind, I'd been served was an hour, 1 hour.
1
to
hour.
which we get the beer, and I said, "Is it supposed to be? Have you ever tried a Belgian sour beer where it's sour? You
Yeah,
drink
yeah.
it, right?" And I was like, "Is it supposed to be a sour beer?" No. And you know what made me feel really weird, right? Because I tried this beer, and everyone else on the table is probably around the same age as me, right? We're all quite old. And we all agreed this is either off
Mm.
or it's a sour beer, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's one of these craft beer things. And I took the pint to benefit to working from
Dog
home.
in.
The dog comes in. So I took the pint to the barman, the bar manager, and I said, "Is this supposed to be sour?" I said, "Try that." Now, what normally happens in a pub is the barman takes a sip and goes,
Oh, yeah. I'll pour you a
"Yeah,
fresh
fair enough,
one.
that's off." No.
Yep.
This guy actually went like this. "Oh no, I can't do that." And I
What?
was like, he then took a straw, and I thought, oh, he's going to sip it, put the straw in the pint, and that's it.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
took a
yeah, yeah.
straw, dipped it, and nicked the end of the straw. Now I found this quite amusing, and I discussed with my work colleagues who also found it quite amusing. But I was like, is that what kind of COVID has turned us into, where people are like, oh, I can't possibly touch that? Come on, man. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. I must admit, I know a few people like that who would be the same, or they'd wear gloves, bringing in the shopping when Tesco
Mm,
delivers your home stuff. They're like, right,
what?
gloves on.
Still?
Let's leave them a few days to,
Still?
you know, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Some
Jeez.
people really like suffer from the anxiety, I think, of potentially catching COVID. Yeah,
Yeah. And there was
yeah.
one and there was one other tale on the train on the way home, but I don't know whether I can say it in this podcast, so I'll talk to you about it.
I'll wait for the post watershed time podcast to come
Yeah,
out.
after Warshub, but it was one of the funniest moments, not of my life because I'd lead a sad life if that was the case, but it was one of the funniest moments I've ever seen or heard.
Better than the neighbour falling over in the snow.
It was on a par of neighbour falling on the slope. It was poo related. Um, you-
Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, I think our audience can resonate with poo-related
Yeah, you can't edit that out. I'll talk
imagery.
to you about it later. Anyway, moving swiftly on. Work related, I've been doing more designy based stuff today. Data,
Yeah,
table schemas for data.
lovely.
Data stream. I've been getting involved in data stream actions in Flow Designer
Oh, yeah,
recently as
the old
well.
flow, yeah.
Playing with those. Expect a YouTube video out soon, people.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes out. And the other thing I've been doing. How many minutes have I had, mate?
Oh,
Why
I've
aren't
got a
you
fair
watching?
share. Everyone enjoys your update. It's all
Yeah,
good.
no, they don't. And the other thing I've had is I've had quite a few people on LinkedIn message me direct around let's talk about next gen and how we bridge that gap between
Okay,
I'm a
yep.
next gen person and I've been trained and how do I get the experience to get a job. So I've been having quite a few conversations with different people. I spoke to someone in Florida last week because it's something they're doing and keen on. I've got another couple of calls. I've got one tomorrow, one next week. Just trying to find out a bit more about what's going on in that space and how I can help out as much as I can.
Mm. Mm.
So that's been quite useful. It's busy, isn't it? Busy
Yeah.
for me.
So this went. You've obviously opened up on your own Service Nerd website the ability for people to kind of
Good
book
plug.
in these kind of chats
I
or
have. I've got some
connections.
Calendly app. which is
Calendly.
on
Yeah.
my website, which, to be fair, is a WordPress plugin, took 2 minutes. And it allows people, we said it last time, didn't we? It allows people to book like 30-minute
Yeah.
slot with me over my lunch hour so we can just chat. And I will say, if anyone's listening and fancies a chat, go for it. But, right,
Yeah.
bear in mind you are using my lunchtime.
Come with a very structured format.
Come either with a
Wait,
struck. No. Come
no, I'm
with.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, let's have an informal chat, but you've got to have this as an agenda. No,
Yeah, it's got to be
the
about
point
me.
being, yeah, it's all about me. No, the point I was going to make is I've been doing Google Hangouts and stuff, but I might expand that to other platforms because I have to walk my dog at lunchtime and I have to have a lunch. So I'm quite happy to walk and talk. You know what I mean? As long as people don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't think that's okay. It's an informal chat. Woo! That's my update.
Busy, yeah, busy.
We should have some sound effects. So,
Yeah, what we do somewhere.
yeah, no one's interested in you. Let's get to the topic.
Yep. Okay. So today we're talking about.
Come on. Tell
Okay.
us, how many meetings have you been in? Let me ask you a question. Right?
Yeah,
How
go on.
many meetings were you in last Thursday?
Last
I'm going to say
Thursday.
6.
You're going to go for 6? All right. Well, I'm telling you, I'm going to go straight to my calendar and I'm going to tell you. Last Thursday. Have you got access to my calendar?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5
5.
last Thursday.
I was close. Okay.
Yes.
So that was a bit of fun. So yeah. Anyway, what have you been up to?
I mean, that was majority of the day as well. These aren't like 15 minutes, 30 minutes meetings either. So, by the time you have all the meetings, we've got about an hour left to do stuff.
Go on
But yeah,
then.
what have I been up to? So last week, I was invited to do a tech talk, which was quite interesting. So it was
Say that
internal
quicker.
to Pound in the Jar, DXC.
Ooh.
So it was to the wider DXC practice to talk about ServiceNow. So obviously DXC do a lot more than just ServiceNow. ServiceNow is just one part of their enterprise apps offerings. And we were there to just demonstrate the power of ServiceNow. And I had a nice little section around low code and AI, which is definitely the area which I'm trying to kind of pigeonhole myself into a little bit more, to demonstrating the abilities and capabilities of that.
Hang on, I have 2 comments to make.
2 comments.
Pigeonholed.
Go. Yeah,
Pigeonholed.
we
That
can
was our
reuse
first
that.
episode. Yeah, we've
It
already
was.
used that. It was.
Oh, so that's vetoed now, is it? Pigeonholed is
Yeah.
vetoed. Okay.
You can't use pigeonholed. But in terms of tech talk and well, basically what I want to know is, did you push the podcast? You had a captive audience there. Did you do it?
I did have a captive audience. I mean, I think
Loser.
there was over 600 there watching, and
Loser.
I didn't. I didn't. No, I know. We could have got all them followers on LinkedIn. We're above 300 now. Yeah, no, I didn't. But I do push it quite regularly internally. They probably hadn't heard enough of it by now. But yeah.
Gotta get your foot and ram it down the throat.
Yes, exactly. You're not following, are you? Yeah. No, it was good to be involved in them sort of things because there's a lot more than just ServiceNow out there. It's about understanding how we can work together, creating more of an enterprise offering, and just showing what we do. It's good to because a lot of us are part of partners who are quite big, and a lot of times you can just be siloed in just your ServiceNow thing, but they're opening that up a bit now, which is good.
Was there much interaction, or was it just you talking? Because there's nothing worse.
Well, it was a webinar, so a lot of interactions were through just questions on the chat and things like that.
Right.
There was a lot of oh, that was really interesting to hear and learn about what you do. But because there wasn't specifically ServiceNow people, at the beginning we did like a poll of who's actually heard of ServiceNow and who's actually had experience with it, and majority of them was like, yeah, I've heard of it, but I'm not an expert in it.
Well, here's a challenge I think we should set ourselves before the end of the year. It's each of us have to do one of these podcasts on our own to see how difficult it is. Can you imagine that? People actually do that, though, don't they? They do the podcast and they just talk. God, how boring.
Yeah, that'd be weird. Anyway, that was
Sorry.
fun. That was one thing, and I guess the second thing that happened last week was Sports Day. I think that's a
Yes.
global thing, isn't it? Generally, you get Sports Day at your kids' schools.
The sports tend to be global. Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, but Sports Day specifically, and I think one thing which we all get excited for, and something that we do maybe in the UK only, I don't know, but there's a dad's race. There's a dad's race. There's a mum's race,
Yes.
and you're guaranteed that there's at least one person that's going to fall over, make a
Or was
complete.
it you? Please tell me it was you.
It was not
Please.
me. It was not me. Although what was quite interesting that halfway down the little strip, and it was about 100 meters dash, I think it was. It wasn't like a 20-meter thing. It was like
Yeah.
100 meters people were doing, and there was a like little dip in the middle. And there was a few people that came foul of that, but
Hang on, did people fall over? Did they actually fall over?
yeah, full on face plant.
Yes.
It was good.
You don't.
The
You.
embarrassment levels were brilliant.
Can you imagine if you're the kid and your dad falls over, smacks your face? How embarrassing!
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, all right,
Full
Dad,
time
don't say that
embarrassment.
next time.
Do you
Don't
remember when
worry.
your mum did this?
Yeah. Oh. Where did you come then? Did you win?
No.
Oh.
I did really badly. As we know, we do running, but I'd consider myself more of a long distance runner than
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Go with that.
short.
Go with that.
Yeah,
Did you do really badly, but it's okay because everyone's a winner, or did you do it really badly and you just lost?
Well, I didn't get a sticker,
Oh,
so that was
okay.
annoying.
Yeah, that's
But
all right.
I did second last. I'm going to come out and say it, second last
That's all right.
out of my little
You
group.
weren't stone last. Who was last? The person that fell over on their face.
No. But that was fun. That was all right. But no, there's
Sports Day is not till July, and I never get to make it. And I don't think the last two times they've had a dance race. To be fair,
Are they not?
no, I don't think so. I've never done it.
Yeah, might
I'd
be
just
specific to
win
the
it though.
school.
To be fair, I mean, come on, look at me. I'm like some Usain Bolt kind of 40-year-old bloke. And mind you, he's probably about 40 now, isn't he?
My excuse is that the school's quite near a lot of army bases and RAF bases. That they've got a lot of dads, which are
Go.
already
You got
way up. Excuses coming in. Excuses.
Is it Fairford up by you? Or Fairford?
No. There's RAF
anyway,
Milden Hall. There's a few. Milden Hall and a
let's
few
carry
others.
on. Let's carry on. So we've established that you ran a race, which is good.
Yeah, I ran a race.
Come
I did badly. Yeah, I participated.
and that's what the
Well done, me. Yeah.
Come on, let's go back on topic. How long have we spent now talking rubbish?
We spent 17 minutes talking
Wow!
gibberish.
Right, come on, we've got 20 minutes. Yeah, we I can't even edit this out. It's live.
Right.
Right.
I know. Right, let me start the topic then. So this is one that obviously we take turns a lot of time to choose a topic, and we're on the same theme as home working and mental health and all this sort of thing, and productivity is what we're talking about. So it's about being able to master the art of remote working, but looking into those strategies and techniques they use to stay in productive from home. But I guess this is my first kind of leading question into this, is that do you feel that you are actually more productive working from home compared to when you were in the office?
Yes.
Yes. Let's move on. Well, let's just delve into why.
Is that it? Yeah.
No,
because today's podcast.
Even to talk at the time. Yeah, no. So essentially the facts actually back that up. So I'll be doing a little bit of delving into facts and things, and it's
here we go.
So according to Harvard or Stanford or one of those,
done some research. No, this is what's happened. You've done some research, and you've orchestrated the topic of the podcast to be around your research. So you can go. According to recent research, haven't you? I know your game.
For the LinkedIn post, you mean afterwards?
No, come on.
I mean, it backs up what you've been saying, to be honest, because it is apparently 13% more productive compared to being in the office. I think in the office, there's always I've already talked about it, like the informal chats. There's always people that's going to come up and having more informal chats at work because they're suddenly not sitting in your office with you at home, so they'd just annoy you. But but there are distractions from home as well. And basically, I've been asking a few different people what they've been doing to try and maximize their day. Whether there's distractions, it could be your mobile phone, could be your other half or your children that keeps coming in, or your dog that you have to let in every few minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just to kind of discuss that and see what you do, and see what I do, and see what everyone else does, just to kind of maximize the
Yeah.
productivity working from home.
So for me, this topic's really quite simple. Am I more productive at home than if I was in an office? Okay. Maybe it's not simple, right? Am I getting more work done at home than I'm in the office? Absolutely, 100%, hands down, always have done. Because I
Yeah,
can zone out, I can stick my music on, I can just crack on, right?
yeah,
Am I more productive for everyone else? I don't know, maybe not, right? Because that 20-minute conversation that I
mm,
had with someone in the office,
yeah,
they were probably more productive because it allowed them to answer a question that
yeah,
otherwise might have lasted a couple of weeks because it had been,
yeah,
oh, let's
exactly.
run the
Yeah.
meeting.
The
So
blockers. Yeah,
in that kind of sense, maybe for other people at the level that we're at, I mean, an architect. People come to you. I'm a bit of a
yeah,
mentor, I guess, and a lead dev. If we were all in one room in the office, it may be more productive as a team. But as a personal individual, I'm far more productive. Um,
yeah.
oh, excuse me. Sorry, that's Diet Coke. So have another Diet Coke moment. Other drinks are available. But yeah, at home, it's quite easy for me. The only thing that distracts me is my dog. I mean, the dog's quite old now, so she keeps going in and out the door.
Yeah,
But other than that, I don't get. And do you know what? Oh my god, the amount of delivery drivers. Oh, constantly ringing the doorbell.
yeah,
Bing, 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 bing,
yeah,
bing. That's an annoyance. But in
yeah.
terms of do I
Literally.
get distracted and go, oh, I'm going to go to the park, or I fancy going down the shops, or I'm going to go and make tea for everyone for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen. Just doesn't never
No.
happen. Never. I'm
Yeah.
quite disciplined. So
Yeah.
my question back then, because
Mm.
I get for some people this might be a topic that some people either don't want to discuss or be honest about, right? In terms of, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I do nip off and go and get my hair cut for 3 hours or whatever. Right? People might say that.
Yeah.
But is it like the demographic of people, right? Is it because you've got different what are they called? Like you've got Gen Z, Gen X's,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Boomers and everything. Is it
Yeah.
different? Do you know what I mean? Do
Yeah.
you think different demographics or different types will have different answers? Maybe.
Yeah. Maybe, and I think it probably depends based on your own um, circumstances as well. For example, I'm reliant to do the school run, so a lot of the time, there'll be a period of time in the day where I have
hang
to
on, hang
pop
on,
off and
hang
do the
on,
school run.
hang on. There's a joke there with the school run. After just coming second to last in the school run.
Yeah. The school walk.
Joke. Yeah, the school walk, the
Yeah.
school amble.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, there'll be times where it's I need to be able to do that. Whereas if it was me back at the office, then potentially that's it's more of a taboo thing. It's like, whoa, why are you leaving the office? To go and do the school run. It's a lot
Oh,
more
part timer,
flexible these days.
part timer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, we're going home early, are we?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Whereas, yeah, it's a different time where it's a lot more flexible for you to do that. But I think generally you probably end up working a lot more time in the day as compared to when you were at the
absolutely.
office. I think because at the office you'd maybe turn up at 9 or something, you go home at 5 or whatever the
Yeah,
situation is. At home, I think majority of the time for me anyway, I end up working through a lot of my lunch times, like lunch breaks. There'll be the odd call in the evening where I feel that it's okay for me to do
yeah,
because
yeah. See,
I'm used to working from home.
working through lunch for me is just a no go. You need that time. I think, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest, before COVID, I always used to work through lunch, always,
Mm.
and I was working from home then, right? After COVID, um, it's more of I separate out that hour that I can have to myself, right? I
Yeah.
don't tend to work through lunch anymore at all. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's me.
Yeah, no, that's definitely something that I would I need to improve on, and something that I'd hold my hand up and say I don't do that enough. Um, it makes me then kind of like take smaller breaks during the day and just find food at that point when I'm hungry,
Fine
which may not
food,
be the best thing for like my own
scavenger.
lifestyle and diet. Just kind of go down to the fridge, grab a chocolate bar or whatever.
Yeah, that's the bad thing, isn't it?
Um,
Nibbling or whatever.
yeah,
So
nibbles.
you said you'd asked a bunch of people, is like in terms of what they said, and I saw your
Yep.
LinkedIn post in terms of productivity and what I guess what concerns people have in terms of working from home. What's the answer you got back
Yeah.
then? And do you think
Yeah.
people were
So
being honest with you?
I only put it on LinkedIn not too long ago, so there's only so many responses. But it seems to be when I asked this internally as well, it seemed the same things were coming up, and it was number one was time management in terms of being able to block out time to achieving your kind of goals for the day.
Yeah,
I think they find that a lot of the time um, they're asked to join ad hoc meetings, or they're pinged during the day, and these things
yeah,
happen. We've gone through this before, but yeah, that and both this phone. So being having a distraction of your phone, and I don't
really?
personally go through it. I kind of ignore my phone unless someone calls me or whatever. What tends to work for them is to lock their phone away unless they need it to do some kind of multi-factor authentication, sign on for some kind of system. They will tend to lock their phone away to kind of create this kind of vision of just
Yeah,
concentrating
yeah, yeah.
on their work. So I've got feedback from two particular people, and they're happy for me to name them as well. So Bin and Ryan from DXE, Pound in the Jar.
Yeah,
Um, so they got back to me and they told me their techniques for managing their time, basically. And I thought I'd run this by you and see what you think.
yeah,
Um, so Bin came back to me and said that what he does was he blocks his time almost regimentally, like even as granular as 15-minute blocks in his schedule. So he plans out his day all beforehand, um, and he understands that there is some, unforeseen situations where he needs to jump on calls and things that happen. But generally, it works for him to kind of time block things in his diary, that sort of thing. It's literally the mental effect of having to concentrate on that one task, then you move to something else, you move to
yeah, yeah,
another. For him, he removes distractions, such as having like a Chrome extension to block any of these kind of like procrastination websites and things like that. Keep your phone hidden and on silent.
yeah.
Um, he goes for
There is
walks, so he goes for regular walks without headphones.
there is
Um,
there is a Japanese theory for productivity, right? It says that you should concentrate and work hard for 25 minutes on a particular
yeah,
task and then
I
take a
was going to
five
come
minute
to
break.
that.
Oh, all
Mm.
right. Well, spoil your thunder. You just take a drink. You just do that instead. Go
Yeah,
on
so
then.
it's the Pomo focus stuff is what you're talking about,
The
I
what?
think.
What?
Pomo focus. So what that
The what?
is the
What?
Pomodoro technique,
Right. Okay.
which is the 25 minutes, exactly what as you mentioned, the 25 minutes thing of being able to focus on certain tasks in your list for 25 minutes, and then you take a 5-minute break, and then you kind of increase that kind of iteration of doing 25 minutes.
Yep.
Um, so Ryan, that's one of his techniques he uses to concentrate on tasks. He says he doesn't actually make to-do lists too much anymore, but he uses that technique to get things done. So that was really, really interesting. He also his phone lives in a drawer. Um, yeah, I don't think there was too much else he
I
mentioned there. Blocks time
see.
out.
I
Yeah,
think is that a generational thing with the phone? Because my phone. I
could
mean, you've
be.
seen mine. Mine's on my desk, right? I've shown you a
Yep.
picture before. It doesn't distract me to the point where it stops me doing work. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't see. There's not anything on my phone that I wouldn't have on the web, on the desktop. Do you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I don't. For me,
Yeah,
that's not a
maybe it's a
distraction.
social thing, like social media,
Oh,
and
yeah.
like
I
I
don't
don't know. It's
socialize. I'm
whether
out.
it's that might be the thing then, isn't it? I mean, people just kind of refresh Twitter all the
Yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah.
and you're yeah. I'm not as
Yeah, no,
reliant on it at all. I tend to stay
that
away from
doesn't
it
tend
most
to.
of the time.
I think for me, the one thing I do is um, in the morning. So I start about 8:15, 8:15,
Mm,
and that window between then and 9 o'clock is about me making to-do lists for what I'm going to do that day.
yeah.
But also, I'm a freelancer, right? So I don't start until 9 o'clock. Not necessarily every day. There's other times I might start, but I time box it and say 9 o'clock's when I start. So everything before 9 is about me, right? So it's either what I've got to achieve that day, and I do. I update my socials, so I'll put out posts out there. I'll
Yeah.
think about topics that we're going to discuss. I'll update the website. You know what I mean? It's like today I was looking at Google Analytics for our website and stuff like that. So I'll do that before 9 o'clock. I posted a short as well this morning, all before 9.
Mm,
And then after that, I'm good to go. But I don't. Yeah, it's weird. I don't. And maybe it helps having this environment, right? So this is my office. This is. In fact, I'm going to put the fan on 1 second. This is my office, and it's my place, right? So I don't tend. No one really bugs me.
yeah.
No one.
Yeah.
Everyone knows if that door's shut, I'm working. Leave me alone. So it's. I don't know. I don't. What about you? Do you get people bug you? Do you get people come in the office? Is that a sacred place
Um,
for you? You know what I mean?
yeah, I'd say in terms of my like biggest distractions for me is, um, I guess I kind of need to soundproof this room. So I have a 1-year-old, and a
Oh,
7-year-old. So the 7-year-old's obviously at school, but the 1-year-old you hear all the time, just screaming, and she doesn't wander in, but I'm sure in the next year she probably would start to just wander in the office and say, "Hi, Daddy,
yeah.
I'm hungry" or something. But no, the other halves obviously will take care of that most of the time. But it's just noise for me. I prefer in a quiet um atmosphere. I don't play music like when I work or anything like that, or put
Really?
headphones on or anything like that. I prefer just silent and head down and just getting things
Really?
done.
No. See, I have music on. It just helps me crack on. There's nothing better. It's like today. I looked at my diary and thought, I've got like half a day with no meetings. I can just put my music on and I can just crack on with stuff.
Yeah,
Just get
yeah,
it done.
yeah. And I think for me managing my time, what I tend to do is I'm very very big on lists. Um, I
Yes.
do everything by lists. So in the
Yep.
morning, similar to you, I mean, I'd write down everything that I plan to achieve for that day, anything that's kind of burning, or things I had to do immediately, and think other like stretch goals, I guess, for the day.
Yeah.
And then I'll just cross them off as I get through them, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
That's exactly what
Um,
I do. I use this app called Notion, which is great for
mm,
making like task lists, and I just literally tick to stuff off. It's got an AI capability now, actually. But yes,
well,
absolutely. What I do.
yeah, and I wouldn't mind like trying to use some other techniques, like going out for a walk and that sort of thing. I've not tried it. I've always kind of found myself, and maybe this is the taboo thing, that I've always think I'm too busy. I'm too busy to go up and go out for a walk.
Yeah, but that's
Um,
no man. See. I was in the same boat pre-COVID. It was always at a lunch. I was always too
yeah,
busy, and I don't know whether it was after COVID or when I started becoming a freelancer when I made
yeah,
that mental switch.
yes,
Because they were both at the same time. Really, I started contracting, and the great, you know what I mean, the great unleashing of people from COVID happened at the same time. So I don't know which one it was, but at that time I said, well, I'm blocking out. So literally in my calendar, you cannot book between 12 and 1.
yeah,
And that's my time to walk the dog, to have a wander. When it's nice, I lie out on the sofa outside. It's
yeah,
just some
nice,
me time,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I think that helps. So
yeah. And I think, yeah, another thing, if you're so set to like lists and things like that, I think one argument against doing that is if you don't get through everything on your list, then you kind of get that downbeat feeling, oh, I've not been able to get through
it's
all these things, or you end
it's
up working later just
yeah.
so that you do get through all them things, um, which is probably not great. So maybe
No, but
it's a
that's
mindset
but
change,
it
isn't it? It's a
no,
shift.
but it helps because if you're working with a project manager or engagement manager that kind of understands the importance of I guess one in, one out, right? So if you've got a bunch of stuff to do and you've only got a certain amount
Yeah,
of capacity to do it, if you've got more stuff coming in and nothing going out, you're never going to win, right? You're never going to
yeah,
keep up. So it's a case of prioritizing, and I'm covering my face there. It's about, it's about prioritizing, but that's part of the PM and EM's job for us to help that prioritization. You kind of say, well, this is what you've asked me to do. You tell me which order
Yeah.
I want to do it in.
No, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just knowing that you've got done what you
So,
can during the day. Prioritization is probably the way forward. Yeah.
here is a question to you then. So we've established that you fall over when you're running. So you're quite old like me,
I
right? We're
don't
both
fall
quite
over.
old.
That
we're
wasn't me.
we're both old.
Yes.
I guess the point is we've both been around in the industry a bit. I'm not necessarily just the ServiceNow industry, but
Yeah.
working industry of how to deliver projects, delivery experience.
Yeah.
So for new people just coming into the industry or people just starting work or whatever, do you see any trends that distract them from work? And if you do, what would you say to them to help them? So you're a mentor, right? Someone said, "Oh, James, I'm trying to do work, but I keep getting distracted by TikTok all the time." What kind of stuff are you
Yeah.
saying? How are you weeding that out? You know what I mean? Are people being honest with you, or how does it work?
Um. Honestly, so from those that I mentor, so some of them are junior or grad sort of level as well.
Yeah,
Um, I don't hear too much of that in terms of this is what's being like distracting me sort of thing. I tell you what it is mostly it's balance with um knowing what is important, I guess, on the day. So it could well be that they're on a project which is full time and there's no time to do things like learning or training or fitting in what's coming up in the next release, and they'll end up just going through project time and not concentrating on other things that are just as important. So it's a lot about just managing time
yeah,
is the probably the biggest challenge, and knowing what to do with it.
yeah.
If you're completely booked out to a customer and you feel that you have to do just that for all the time, um, maybe that's
Are
probably not
people, but are
best.
people likely to be honest with you though, right? Because time management has always been, and it always will be, the biggest factor in people not achieving what they're setting out to achieve. Right? It's one of those
Yeah,
things that go, "Oh, how come you didn't do that?" Well, I just need to manage my time better, or other stuff came
yeah,
in. So, and the answer from a
um,
manager will be, "Well, you need better time
yeah,
management." But
yeah,
when you're
and what,
delving into that, will new people
yeah,
go, "Yeah, well, I didn't get it achieved because I sat on TikTok for 3 hours and then I decided to go and get my hair cut for two." They'll never say
yeah.
that. Never.
I
So
don't
how do
think that
you?
no, and I don't think that would be the case either, because a lot of the people I've been speaking to are just they're incredibly eager for their work and to learn and to pick up bits and pieces, but I think it's more about just understanding how to manage their day more efficiently.
Yeah.
Um, and what I do hear is a lot of people will use their evenings and weekends to
Yes.
cram in and things like that, and just
Yeah.
while you're young, maybe that's fine, and you're happy to do that, and to progress your career and things like that, which is great for eagerness, and shows that you've got
So
willingness to
so
to
so here's
do
here's
things.
here's another question, right? Because
It's not
I like this
sustainable.
kind of topic, right? It's not necessarily technical. It's subjective.
Yeah.
Uh, and if if we relate this back to a topic that I've been really interested in recently, which is about the next gen people coming out. You've been through the course, right? The ServiceNow I'm going to train you up course and send you out into the ether.
Yeah.
You've been through that. You've learned about the ITSM world, the technical world, that this is a flow, this is a business rule, which you're not supposed to use anymore, but we all do. This is an incident, this is change, whatever. You've learned about that, and you kind of get thrown out and say, well, now go and find a job. So it's kind of you've got those ServiceNow skills, but
Mm.
I don't want to say time management, but is working more productively at home another skill that one you should look for when employing someone, and two, how do you train that?
Mm.
Because other than saying, oh,
Yeah.
you're not being as productive as you can do, you need to manage your time better. How do
Yeah.
you train it? Like ServiceNow, you'd be a mentor and say, this is an if statement, this is a error
Yeah.
handling
Yeah.
flow in
Yeah.
flow.
Yeah.
So how do you and do
I
you?
think that's really hard, isn't it? Because I don't think that even fits in with those kind of like core soft skills either, or the kind of generic company training that they get you to do for
Yeah, yeah,
health and safety, or it's kind of like one of those subjects that's just not talked um, about how to work from home.
yeah,
It's almost just expected that you should just know, or maybe just kind of garner opinions from your colleagues. Say,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
what do you do? Or asking that question: is it okay if I go for a haircut at lunchtime?
But I
Or
think
is it a taboo?
it's getting
Yeah,
like that though, isn't it? Because I've worked from home for many, many, many years, and it's probably
yeah,
something I take for granted that I've just learned to do, and it's just normal to me.
yeah,
But you think about these graduates coming through, brand
yeah.
new, probably never worked in an office before,
Mm, mm.
uh, and if they
This could
have
be the only
over the
thing
last
they
few
know.
years, it's
Yeah,
always been virtual. So it's kind of like it's not normal to them. It's not natural. So maybe there is some kind of specific training that needs to happen in
yeah,
order to
or
help
just
people be as
mentorship.
productive as they can be.
I think a lot of it comes to mentorship because you touched on it earlier about a lot of things. These things are kind of personal circumstance and things that maybe people don't want to discuss, and that could be also the reason for not too many responses on the on the LinkedIn, other than me just being rubbish at social media. But it's a personal thing. It might show badly on you if you're opening up to these distractions, and people feel that if they, say that they have to do the school run, that might be marked against them in any way, shape, or
Yeah,
form, or yeah,
no, it's an interesting one. I mean, I'm just diving into LinkedIn now just to have a check because I repost
yeah,
as well, and then I'm conscious that we're 41 minutes in.
yeah,
We spent 20 minutes just waffling. So we better wrap this up at some point. But let me just check to see if is LinkedIn going to load. So what we're referring to here is James and I kind of primed people with the topic we were discussing today,
mm,
just trying to figure out what distractions people have at home, um, and whether whether they'd be honest about it. And my theory is I don't think people would be. I'm not saying
yeah,
people will deceive, but come on, would you outwardly say, "Yeah, I get distracted all the time"?
yeah, or lack motivation to
Yeah,
work from home.
I don't think people would. It's more of a I just think that's what people do, and we just need to. I don't know. From a recruitment, an employer point of view, you need to learn how to spot it and
Yes,
help people to get past it. And from an
yeah,
individual point of view, you also need to learn how to spot it. And it's okay to say, I'm getting distracted. I need some help to manage it. Because the worst thing in the
yes,
world is you're not
yeah,
delivering projects, is you're not delivering your workload because you're getting constantly distracted or
yeah,
you're not getting it done on time. Because at the end of the day, we're there to do a job, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. There's got to be that kind of happy medium where you do work with your employer to understanding what is acceptable for your employer, as well as what you need to do from home as well,
Yeah,
because they should also understand that if you are working from home, there are some things that you can't avoid. Do
exactly.
you know what I mean? It might be baked into your contract that you are a home
And
worker,
that,
in
that
which
and
case,
let's be
yeah,
fair, right? It goes both ways, isn't it? Working from home is a benefit to the employee because they don't have to pay rent and rates, but it's also a
yeah,
benefit to us, right? It can't be both ways. It can't be, oh, the employee gets it, we don't have to pay any rent, but we expect you to work 9 till 5 and be there all the time. No, it doesn't work like that. You're allowed to
yeah,
be distracted, but at least acknowledge what they are. Um,
yeah, yeah.
anyway, that's for me. So should we wrap this up then?
Yes, I think we should. I think so. We come into this obviously talking about this whole subject of productivity, and we've understood that yeah, absolutely, we're more productive working from home on the most part. There are going to be distractions, and there are going to be things outside of your control with distractions, and we believe that employers are aware of this. I think they're becoming more flexible in terms of what you can and can't do from home. There's lots of techniques out there, like the Pomodoro technique we've discussed around the 25 minutes rule, being able to create lists, being able to, block book your time in your diaries. I think the important kind of message is these sort of things you're going to have to find out for yourself what works in terms of your productivity. It can be very specific to your own individual circumstances, whether you have family, whether you have pets coming in and out all the time. Yeah, I guess that's my kind of summary of this is really you've got to try these different techniques and different things to try and work in your life work sort of balance. Yeah,
And you've missed out. We've also learned that you're quite old, and if you put you in front of a 100-meter dash, you're going to fall over.
Yeah. And that if you do want a free scooter, Russ can give us address in the link.
Yeah, there's someone out there
He may or may not be tracking you.
that's got a black market ring on scooter mongering. Anyway, so I guess that's thanks for wrapping us up there, James. I think that just remains us to say you can go first.
Yep, I've been James.
I've been Russ.
And this has been the Service Ducks. That's all for today's podcast. Thank you for listening, and if you want to get your question answered by the Service Ducks, get in touch through Talk to the Duck at service-ducks.com, or just use one of the links below.